Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the Legislative Committee meeting of January 18, 2022 to order at 7:15 p.m. I'd like to start by calling the roll. Alderman Massey.
Here.
Alderman Green.
Here.
Welcome to the committee, Alderman Green.
Thank you.
Alderwoman Ramkasoon.
Present.
Alderman Tobin.
Here.
Myself. We're here in total. There are two action items coming before us, one of which may appear on the regular agenda later this evening. And I'm going to start with, since council's present, I want to start with, are you doing the water bill thing, or is the mayor going to do that?
Oh, no, he is doing that.
There's a couple of purposes to re-levying water and sewer bills that are not paid into the following year's taxes. And one is that homeowners will not be in danger of losing their house simply because they don't pay a water sewer lien, which can be minor compared to, say, the value of the house, the value of the mortgage on the property. The other purpose, and why we learned about it, is that it'll reduce litigation, because what happens out there is that homeowners who get mortgages, their mortgage company will escrow money for property taxes. And the property tax bills in a normal course of business go straight to the mortgage company. So they take care of it. Homeowner is often not even involved in the process. Water bills do not go to the mortgage company. And we've gotten into situations now where mortgage companies don't know about it. The mortgage is being paid, so the mortgage company has no inclination or no idea that there's any danger to their interest in the property. But the homeowner has ignored for whatever reason, has ignored the city's warnings, and property that may have a $50,000, $70,000, $150,000 mortgage on it gets sold in the city's process for $400. And lawsuits have been brought. We're in the middle of a couple of them. It wasn't my idea. It was actually given to me by our title company, who suggested that maybe the way to avoid these kinds of lawsuits is to do re-levying, which other municipalities do. It's pretty common out there in the towns anyway. So what happens simply is that when the water bill doesn't get paid, you get your typical notice. It's late, it's overdue. But instead of putting it on the tax sale for auction at the next tax sale lien, and instead of giving warnings that there's going to be a conveyance, what happens is that in the following year, the water bill, the unpaid bill, plus the penalties, interest, all that, gets re-levied into your property tax bill, which means in real life that now your water bill is a part of your real property bill in the following year. That does go to the mortgage company if you have a mortgage. If it doesn't go to the mortgage company, it goes into your normal property bill that you will get every year. So it won't solve all the problems with delinquent water bills, but I think it's a good idea, and I think it makes obvious common sense. It'll help owners. It'll help us by reducing litigation. It'll help mortgage companies who get frustrated when somebody's paying the mortgage, but something like this goes unnoticed, and they get in trouble.
Alex, is there any downside to doing it?
No, I don't think so, unless Kelly will say. I mean, Kelly is the one that's going to be putting this out. I don't think there'll be too much more paperwork because we now send out notices, and Kelly can correct me if I'm wrong. We now send out regular notices that water bills are not paid. We put it through a whole process, which means if we just have a water bill, we may go through a whole tax lien sale auction where we're auctioning property off, which is a tremendous amount of paperwork. All that paperwork will be gone. It will not exist because nothing will go to a tax lien sale unless the property tax itself is not paid, which is going to be a higher amount. It's got to be a higher amount. So less paperwork and less risk for homeowners.
Thank you.
I'll go around the table, starting with Alderman Kleiner. Any questions or comments?
No, sounds good.
Sounds good. Alderman Green?
Sounds good to me as well. Thank you.
Alderman Witt?
Fine.
Anything else, Mr. Massey?
Fine.
President Rodriguez? Alderman Tobin?
Sounds like a good idea.
Alderman Ramkasoon?
Yep.
Okay. No other discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstained? Motion carries with 5 affirmative votes. Thank you very much. The next one, you have some background via communication with the mayor. Mayor, do you want to discuss this one? Sure. Thank you.
You're referring to the employee non-contributory health plans?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. Actually, this came about with a city employee approached the administration with concern about healthcare costs. And where the family contribution is now up to well over $400. As you know, in the collective bargaining agreements, there are different levels. Some people pay 0, some people pay 15%, some people pay 10%, depending upon the contract. But with our non-union employees, they're identified in a code. So this employee felt that over the last couple of years, the increase went from 200 and change to 400 and change, and then raised a question about how and it wasn't only one employee, it was a few employees, but it was based on the fact that of the huge increase. What was the process for the city, the council, because you adopt the code, and myself for either signing them or vetoing them? What was the process for deciding who would be exempt and who would not be exempt? So we did an analysis. I had Anna put together a spreadsheet, and we have, I believe it was 22 non-union full-time employees who were eligible for health insurance. And then 2, I think, that are not considered full-time, the corporation counsel and the assistant corporation counsel also. Out of those, there are 8 people who currently make a contribution into the health plan. And all 8 are female. And positions really don't matter. There's no rhyme or reason to it. We have male deputy commissioners who are covered. We have female deputies who are not covered by this. So I sat down with Mr. Smith and got his thoughts on it, and he's had some concerns. We then said, how, if challenged, how would we defend it? And I'll let him say his words.
Not defensible.
So we then have 2 choices, I think, is to either make all contributory or make all non-contributory. Now, don't forget, the non-union employees don't get steps, they don't get their increments and those things, so they're treated differently than those members of the collective bargaining unit, and they don't deserve to be treated the same as the collective bargaining agreement by the very fact that they don't have a collective bargaining agreement. But we, out of those employees, we also have 2 that are contract employees that we have given it to by contract. Both happen to be male employees. So it seems to be no rationale, unless any of you can explain it, why we would identify positions in the charter that are in the code or that are not, what's the basis for making those decisions? And how would you like to pursue it is the question.
Okay, sounds like a pretty succinct explanation. Proactive of sorts, I suppose. Going around the table, Alderwoman Ramkissoon.
I'm kind of interested to hear more from everyone else. I completely understand why we're doing this. I'm just trying to understand how it works, this selecting optional coverages. I'm just trying to get a better understanding of that because I'm not a professional on our insurance and what that means to those employees.
Mr. Mayor, can you shed light on that
How do we choose?
question?
Give it to me again.
It says agrees to pay the full costs under the basic plan, officers selecting optional coverages. So I'm just trying to understand what.
Well, I guess you got basic, you got single or family plan. I think are the only 2 that we offer.
Right.
Or you also have buyout, but I don't think it affects buyout because
Right.
everyone's affected the same. Well, no, not necessarily. Depends on your data hire on the buyout.
Okay, right.
But my older employees will get $10,000 on the buyout. I think new employees, I think it's a max of $6,500. So I think that's what the reference is to.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Alderman Tobin?
The family plan, like the difference, make it all non-contributing, is that?
Non-contributing would be where the city pays for the entire plan,
Yeah.
which we do for 14 or 15 of the employees.
Okay.
And the balance, the eight employees pay based on, of course, date of hire also, and type of plan. So there's different numbers in there, because if it's a single plan, it's obviously less money.
Right. That makes sense.
You still stand by your estimate of cost to initiate this?
Yeah, I did it was about $31,000 for the year. 31 and change.
President Rodriguez? Alderman Massey?
Mr. Mayor, just for transparency, the council is involved in this, correct?
Well, the council is not included in the 22 full-time employees.
No,
So
but-
if you want to expand that to the 22 to 9 more, then you add 8 more men and 1 more woman to the equation. So, but the council does receive non-contributory health plan.
Right, that's what I meant.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Witt? Alderman Green? Alderman Kleiner?
It seems fair. Thank you.
No further discussion being anticipated. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstain? Motion carries with 5 affirmative votes. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Need a motion to adjourn the legislative committee meeting? Thank you. Second? And motion approved, meeting